Hey everyone, now that it's been about a week since Andor Season 1 came to a close, I thought I would share my overall thoughts on the show up to this point. First off, I've seen a lot of news lately that surrounds the debate of this show, and I just want to say whatever your opinion is, please stick with it. Don't let anyone else tell you what you should like or what you should not like. With that being said, let's move on to the review. I get that the show as a whole was pretty slow, which I will talk about in a bit. In the beginning, it's supposed to serve as an introduction into the character and the supporting characters. But come on, the show just moves so slow. I feel like the first 3 episodes could have been wrapped up in an episode, maybe 2 at most. Now, this isn't to say I didn't enjoy the episodes, I really did. I think Cassian Andor is a great supporting character to create a show around. I just think pacing through the show could have been a bit better. I enjoyed some of the characters that were introduced in the first few episodes, one of which was Cyril. Now, Cyril wasn't my favorite, but I think that the thought of a character who is a Boy Scout type security officer is a great idea, and I think the actor that portrayed him did it incredibly. And while I'm not going to talk much about him during this review, I will say towards the end of the show, am I the only one that thought he was a bit creepy? Okay, moving on to the second arc of the show. The heist arc moved a bit better than the first 3 episodes, however I still think there were parts of each episode that could have been avoided or left out altogether. For example, the training scenes. I love the fact that they were going into deep detail about how to act like an Imperial soldier and how to talk like an Imperial soldier, but they spent most of an entire episode explaining it and then doing it. I think it would have been a bit better if they could have just wrapped it up in less than 10 minutes, maybe even 7 minutes. I think that was definitely possible. Now, this arc did give us one of the more spectacular scenes of the season, which was the eye, which even when they explained it sounded amazing. I didn't think that they were actually going to make it look amazing. I guess that's what happens when you spend $20 million on each episode. The camera work and effects were also amazing during the scene, absolutely out of this world, and with the show as a whole, the effects and camera work was incredible. Moving on, I also think they set up some of the supporting characters quite a bit just to have them killed off straight away. For example, Lieutenant Gorn. They introduced him and gave him a backstory and everything, just to kill him off during the heist scene. Like they spent a large chunk of time following him around and giving him a backstory, which I know is meant to move the plot along and to maybe fill some void in the story, but with the amount of screen time he got, I would think that he would have maybe lived a bit longer. I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me that him, along with other characters like Terramine or Nemec, who was killed off randomly. And I know Nemec's manifesto was carried on with Cassian, but his death was so random in my opinion. They escaped, and then he just died. To me, it seemed like they wrote him in the script escaping with Val and or Skeen on accident, then remembered, and then killed him off the first chance they got. Just seemed a bit pointless to me. Moving on to my favorite arc of the season, the prison break. This arc was the most interesting because first, from the very start, I was guessing the machinery they were building in the prison was either for the Death Star or Star Destroyers, and second, because it was the most intense in my opinion. Even if this arc was still slower, every episode I was wondering, how is he going to get out of this? I was on the edge of my seat all 3 episodes, and once the final prison break came, it was awesome. There was the perfect amount of action mixed in, and then with a great monologue from Andy Serkis' character Kino. The episodes after the escape were also pretty good. Honestly though, in the moment I really liked them, but as of now I can't really remember too much what went down, apart from the Coruscant scenes, which I'll touch on in a minute. The finale as a whole I thought was well paced, considering the rest of the show was paced just like that. Not saying it was bad, just obviously a bit slow. But overall, it was a good finale. Apart from all of this terrible controversy on bricks, for some reason, that is entering the social media platform right now. Moving on to another part of the show, the Coruscant scenes. These scenes are the scenes that should move a bit slower. I know the political side of Star Wars isn't people's favorite, but I quite enjoy them. And seeing a young Mon Mothma was incredible. Seeing Luthen on Coruscant was also really cool. All the Easter eggs in his shop were really interesting to see, and it was also really interesting to see how all the secret stuff he was doing and planning was on the same planet that the Emperor was on. Overall, the show was good. I enjoyed it for the most part. Was it a bit slow for me? Yes it was, but it doesn't mean it was bad. I think the cinematography was perfect, and the acting was amazing, and it set itself up for a much more action-packed Season 2, which is great. Honestly, something that some of the other shows don't do is set up their Season 1 finales for a Season 2, then talk about how they're going to do a Season 2, and then become unorganized when they're not ready for it. And I think it was great that Andor was greenlit for Season 2 before Season 1 even aired. So yeah, I thought the show was good. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to Season 2, where they could introduce Tarkin and Krennic, and I'm really looking forward to other projects coming in 2023. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the series so far. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see other videos I put out, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, may the Force be with you.